Good day, everyone. I am Claire Margarette Dasig of GED102 Section E01, and I am here to present my statistical analysis entitled A Statistical Analysis of the Relationship between the Amount of Credit Hours Taken and the Hours of Sleep Attained. So again, I am your researcher and the presenter for today. I am a first-year student taking up 2 degrees, chemical engineering and chemistry. Alright, without further ado, let's get started. So for the outline, of course, we will start at the introduction, wherein I will tackle about the credit hours and stress as a bridge between the credit hours and sleep itself. Then the goals and objectives of the study, then the statistical analysis and procedure. As you can see, the one that I will use is Pearson product moment correlation, followed by the result and conclusion. Moving on, so what is a credit? According to National Center for Education Statistics, a credit in college and universities stands as a unit of value that indicates the weight or quantity of the course taken by a student in relation to the total requirement to graduate. Depending on the university's policies per course, the credit hours may depend on the number of class hours per week in a term, and universities make use these credit hours as a measurement if a student is qualified to graduate. In a study named The Effect of Academic Load on Success for New College Students is Lighter Better, taking a greater amount of credit hours is not significant to prior academic success, although registering for more credits means heavier loads and an immense amount of time need to be spent to earn a higher grade point average. With that, according to Zarakova, the researcher behind self-efficacy, stress, and academic success in college, one of the variables that produce stress is the accumulated credits of a student. Lower stress level is associated with more accumulated credits. This is the thought process that you will need to mind for this study. More credits taken result to heavier loads and needs immense of more credits taken result to heavier loads and need immense amount of time. Because of that, the stress and pressure will be at a higher level than usual. Then, this is the one we will look or study about. I assume that the more credits taken, either the student has insufficient amount of sleep, this is the obvious side, or the student has excessive amount of sleep. Either way, both of them means poor sleep quality and sleep difficulties. As a result, students may suffer from poor academic performance and difficulties in critical thinking and reaction time. With these studies from various researchers, it is safe to assume that one of the bridges that relate the amount of credit hours to the hours of sleep of a student is stress and pressure in academics. Regardless of the review of related researches, this study needs furthermore investigation since all the data were found in the internet and may contain inaccuracies. In addition, the data used by the researcher may not be reliable due to the lack of evidence and sources provided by the original owner of the data. This is because the original owner of the data did not indicate the setting or the university where the data were gathered. The age ranges and the degree programs of the said respondents were not also indicated. Moving on, despite the missing information, the objective of the study is to determine the direction of the relationship and magnitude of the linear relationship between the amount of credit hours taken by college students and the hours of sleep they attained. Depending on the amount of credit hours taken, the researcher will look if there is an effect. correlation, or any relationship to the hours of sleep attained by the college student. This study then becomes relevant because sleep is important for the student's well-being regardless of the weight of loads they are taking. A good amount of sleep has also been proven to boost the mood and academic performance of students. The researcher conducted this study because of the very fact that the amount of credit hours may or may not be related to the student's sleep deprivation or excessive sleeping hours. For this study, the researcher will use a quantitative non-experimental bivariate correlational design to determine the relationship between the two variables, amount of credit hours taken and the hours of sleep attained. According to Simon and Gose, this design is the most appropriate because it achieves the goal of the study without manipulating the variables and researcher-imposed treatments. The researcher also chose college students as the study's respondents since one of the variables is the credit hours, which is only applicable in universities. Considering the wide population, the researcher used the data provided in the Internet. The researcher will use the data collected from 40 respondents to determine the relationship between the two variables. The statistical tool that will be used is a bivariate correlational statistical tool called Pearson product moment correlation. Here you can see the formula. This is the formula for Pearson product moment correlation, where this is the Pearson R of X and Y. This is the number of respondents. This is the sum of the product of X and Y. This is the sum of X. This is the sum of Y. This is the sum this is the sum of squared X, and this is the sum of squared Y. The resulting value will be around -1 to +1. To interpret the correlation value, here's the classification. If the computed value is near 0, it has a negligible correlation. If the computed value is near 1, regardless of its sign, it has a perfect correlation. Here is the data I collected from StatCrunch, where X is the amount of credit hours taken and Y is the hours of sleep attained. We have these given values. These given values will be substituted to the formula. When computed, the correlation value from our X and Y data is 0.04. It is near to 0. Here is the scatter plot to visualize the relationship between the credit hours and the hours of sleep. Based on the computation and the analysis of data, the computed value is 0.04. This computed value can be interpreted that the correlation between the two variables is negligible. Therefore, the researcher conclude that the amount of credit hours taken does not have a relationship with the hours of sleep attained by college students. Here are the references I used for this study. Again, this is Claire Margarette C. Dasig of GED102 Section E01, and this is my statistical analysis entitled A Statistical Analysis of the Relationship between the Amount of Credit Hours Taken and the Hours of Sleep Attained. Thank you and stay safe.